Alright guys, how's it going? I'm back here with another video, and in this video I'll be doing the NXT Tag Challenge that was created by my good friend Breetha35. It's good to see Breetha back on YouTube. He's made a couple videos since his return, so guys, make sure to go check out his channel. So this tag challenge, like the previous tag challenges I've done in the past, has the same format, 10 to 15, 20 questions, and I just answer each question. So without any further ado, let's get right down to it. First question is, before I start, there are some rules that Breetha came up with for this challenge that are down in the description box. There's only one answer per question. Wrestlers who debuted on the WWE main roster, like Zack Ryder or Rhyno, they cannot be included in my answers, but NXT alumni like Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and others can be used. And this tag incorporates all NXT wrestlers since NXT's inception back in 2010. So that includes Barrett, Ryback, Heath Slater, Darren Young, etc. Alright guys, so without any further ado, let's get right down to it. First question, who is your favorite NXT champion across all 3 NXT titles? My favorite champion is Bayley. I feel like Bayley really embodied the underdog champion during her NXT Women's Championship reign. Don't get me wrong, I loved when Kevin Owens was champion. I loved when Finn Balor was champion. I loved Sasha Banks as women's champion. But I feel like with Bayley, I was a little more invested in her matches because she was a truly remarkable underdog who always overcame the odds, and it didn't matter who she was facing, whether it was Sasha Banks twice or Nia Jax or Eva Marie or Alexa Bliss. Bayley faced all challenges. She faced every challenger that came her way, and when the odds were up against her, she overcame them. And I feel like Bayley ultimately embodied a true champion, and she was undoubtedly yeah, I mean, Bayley just embodied what a true fighting champion is because she faced all those challengers, even her best friend Carmella, and when the odds were against her, she overcame them. And I just felt, more invested in her matches because she just was a remarkable underdog. So yeah, Bayley is my favorite champion across all 3 NXT titles. What has been your favorite NXT match so far? Hands down, Sasha versus Bayley from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I've talked about it before in previous videos. I mean, what more do I have to say? The best women's wrestling match of all time and in the history of WWE. Who is your favorite current NXT wrestler? Finn Balor. I love Asuka, and Shinsuke Nakamura is rapidly becoming one of my favorites on NXT, but I've been a Finn Balor fan since he debuted on the NXT roster. He's still my favorite to this day, and I know eventually he's going to get called up to the main roster. He's going to be debuting on the main roster soon, but I've always been a huge Balor fan since he debuted on the the NXT roster, excuse me. And to this day, Balor remains my favorite current NXT wrestler. Who is your favorite NXT alumni? Kevin Owens. I knew who Kevin Owens was going into his debut at NXT TakeOver R Evolution. I had never seen any of his matches, but I knew who he was. And then when I finally got to see him in NXT, he was just awesome. He was the badass that he needed to be when he got to NXT. He was the badass that we all knew he was. He was anti-authority. He did things his way, and he was just awesome. When he came in and, assaulted Sami Zayn and then beat him with death by powerbomb for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver Rival, that's freaking awesome. He just went in there like a bully, like a badass, and just did what he wanted when he wanted. He called the shots pretty much. He even took his frustration out on guys like Alex Riley, who was a commentator at the time. The things that Kevin Owens did on his NXT during his NXT run were awesome, and that's the badass Kevin Owens we need on the main roster. But undoubtedly, he was my favorite NXT alumni because I just loved watching him, whether it was in the ring or it was a segment, whether he was competing or whether he was in a segment or whether he was doing commentary or throwing Alex Riley over the announcer's table. Just what Kevin Owens did during his time with NXT was awesome, and that's the badass Kevin Owens we need on the main roster. What is your favorite NXT markout moment? When Finn Balor debuted the Demon Warpaint at NXT TakeOver R Evolution, I knew Balor did Warpaint back in the day during his run with New Japan Pro Wrestling and other independent wrestling promotions. And the night that he debuted the Demon Warpaint at NXT TakeOver Evolution, my friend texted me because I didn't get to watch it live. My friend texted me because I was out, and he said that Balor debuted the Warpaint, and I was like, oh snap, I can't wait to see this. So when he actually did it, and it was the full-length entrance with, you know, the full-length theme music, and he came out crawling out like a demon, and he had the headgear and you know, those whatever those things were, like the gauntlets. When he did that, I was like, oh my god, this is so awesome. And I didn't like jump out of my seat or anything, but I was just like, had this huge grin on my face, like, wow, man, this is so awesome. And ever since then, Balor has like evolved as the Demon, so to speak. He's added new elements to the Demon, whether it was bone spikes at I think he did the bone spikes at either TakeOver Unstoppable or TakeOver Brooklyn, but I know he did spikes once. He had bat wings. He had an eye on the back of painted on his back, which was supposed to represent some legendary eye in Irish folklore. He's just added new elements to the Demon every time he's done the entrance. I mean, a freaking chainsaw and Shades of Blue at NXT TakeOver Dallas. So when Balor debuted the Warpaint the very first time at NXT TakeOver R Evolution, that was just a truly awesome markout moment, and it's ultimately paved the way for the evolution of the Demon in the past year and a half. What is your favorite NXT finisher? Adrian Neville's Red Arrow, and yes, I said Adrian Neville, not Neville. I mean, Neville isn't a bad name, but I've been calling him Adrian Neville for a while now. Yeah, his Red Arrow was awesome. It was just like poetry in motion. I know NHS Rules said that he liked Baron Corbin's End of Days, and that, of course, is an awesome finisher. But I always loved seeing Neville do the Red Arrow, just the way he'd get air with that move and impact. Reminded me of Rob Van Dam's 5-star Frog Splash. Who is your favorite NXT wrestler of all time? Again, I got to go with Finn Balor because, like I said, I've been a Balor fan since he debuted on the main roster. I love he's an enigma. I love his war paint. He's an incredible performer. Balor's just awesome. I mean, what more do I have to say? What is your favorite NXT feud to date? Sasha Banks versus Bayley. I feel like that really raised the NXT women's division to a higher level. The two incredible matches they had, those two historical women's championship matches, you know, Brooklyn, of course, and then the Iron Woman match at NXT TakeOver Respect. I mean, they're the first two, to my knowledge, they're the first two women in WWE to ever compete in a women's Iron Man match, you know, the Iron Woman match. Sasha and Bayley's feud was just great. I mean, I don't know if WWE can replicate that on the main roster, but their feud on NXT was just awesome. For the 2 months that it lasted, it was awesome. I know some people will probably say, Owens and Zayn, and that was a great feud while it lasted, but that feud is continuing on Raw on the main roster, you know what I'm saying? My favorite NXT feud was Sasha versus Bayley. Which NXT wrestler or wrestlers on the main roster do you believe should return to the NXT roster? There are a few that I believe should return to the NXT roster, but since I'm only allowed one answer per question, I'm going to go with Tyler Breeze. I mean, seriously, what the hell is Tyler Breeze doing in this stupid-as-hell feud with R-Truth and Fandango and Goldust? I mean, this Goldongo Gorgeous Truth bullshit this is freaking ridiculous. I hate that freaking program. Why the hell is Tyler Breeze in some bullshit low class whatever freaking piss break, you know, program like that when he should be going after like the Intercontinental Championship or the US Championship? I just hate how Tyler Breeze has been treated ever since arriving on the main roster. Don't get me wrong. He started off good beating Dolph Ziggler, but since then he went on that like 50-plus match losing streak until he finally won a match last week. Like, Tyler Breeze needs to go back to NXT or they'll treat him better because Triple H knows what kind of an asset Tyler Breeze is. He may not be a main eventer, but he could be a hell of a top mid-card star. I've been saying it for a while now. Hashtag give Tyler a chance. He really needs to go back to NXT. Because this Gold Dongo, Gorgeous Truth crap is just, that's a piss break program right there. And I hate it. It is pointless, guys. Little rant right there, but Tyler Breeze honestly needs to go back to NXT. He's being treated like shit on the main roster. And final question, who would you like NXT? Who would you like WWE to sign next to NXT? There are a bunch of people I would love to see signed to NXT, but my answer is going to be Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega has this like aura to him, this awesome badass attitude to him that I would just love to see him bring to NXT. You know, I know he's doing big things over in New Japan with the Young Bucks, the Elite, but I think Kenny Omega has this this hip, badass flavor that he would bring to NXT, if that makes sense. But yeah, Kenny Omega in NXT I think would just be awesome. I would love to see him interact with Xavier Woods when he gets, you know, when he gets to the main roster. But I want to see Kenny Omega bring like a hip, fresh, badass feel to NXT. And that will wrap it up, guys, for the NXT Tag Challenge. Shout out to Breetha35 for creating this challenge. Once again, man, you come up with another brilliant fan challenge. Great to see you back on YouTube. Guys, feel free to make a video response to do your own NXT Tag Challenge. Be sure to tweet them to Breetha at Breetha35. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel, go back and check out some other videos. And until next time, guys, I'll see y'all later. Have a good weekend. This is Robbie One Kenobi signing off. Peace.